Um, can never tell when we're all the way live.
I think we are.
Okay, I think we're on. Okay, guys. Well, this is Kayla Houston with All Things HTX, and we're doing the Thrive campaign, and this is our gratitude workshop right now, where we're joined by Miss Connease. She is a yoga instructor, and this is sadly, so sadly, the last day that she'll be on this week. And I'm already missing you. I've really enjoyed our conversations, talking about different themes and how, as you mentioned, through the lens of yoga, and how it can help us during times like these to stay positive and to stay motivated. So again, thank you so much for joining me, Connease.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure and enlightening, and just really fun to talk through so much of my experience that I've shared in little snippets here and there. But it's been really cool to just really kind of delve in and put it all on the table, if you will.
Yeah.
So that's been fun.
Well, so tell us a little bit about what we'll be talking about today. Hold on one second. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I've got to get that fixed where these notifications don't pop up. But yeah, so tell me a little bit about what we're talking about today.
So today I just wanted to explore very briefly just the concept of rituals and how that's shown up for me in my yoga practice and made me value that as a tool, even outside of the classroom, the yoga classroom, off my mat. Mm-hmm. So all week we've been really talking about things you learn on the mat and how they translate and show up in your life off the mat, and how to really recognize that and value that. As just a way of seeing yoga as more than a workout or, something you do to get flexible, but really just a holistic kind of lifestyle that improves your life, from the inside out, in the room, outside of the room.
Right. Yes. Well, great. Well, let's get started. I know that we do a breathing exercise usually. Are we going to do that at the end today?
You know what? I'm going to leave a lot of time for kind of some breathing and some quotes because it's our last day. And I just kind of want to leave us and whoever's watching with just a sense of calm and a sense of, hope and gratitude as we all move forward in these uncertain times. So I want to spend a lot more time on that today. But very briefly, talking about the concept of rituals. So the way ritual really shows up for me in my yoga practice is the series that I do that I've talked a lot about this week, the original hot yoga, 26 and 2. So 26 and 2 has meaning because it's 26 postures and 2 breathing exercises. And it's that same sequence, that same series each and every time you practice that series. So what it does, or what it has done over time for me, is really kind of grounded me in a sense of ritual in terms of being very purposeful about following a practice where I get a chance to delve in, because I'm literally, it has become a ritual, those same postures. And you would think, a lot of people think it would get boring, but it doesn't. And again, that just signals the value of what a ritual can do. Even though you're doing the same thing, you learn and grow all the time from it. You see it in different ways. You learn different things. And it's almost counterintuitive that you would get so much value from doing the same thing, but it's really a chance to go very, very deep, not only physically, but, mentally, spiritually, physiologically, all of those things. You really learn how the body changes and adapts, and how you change and adapt based on different things that are happening in your life on the inside and on the outside. So that's been really a fascinating thing to recognize and witness how powerful ritual has become.
Speaking about the rituals and how it is the same 26 postures, and it's different for everyone, because one posture might be something that you're really good at, but it's very rare that all 26 that you've got them on point. So it's always, even though it's a ritual, it's still, and even though it's repetitive in that regard, it's still something that you're constantly practicing, and you're working on 26 completely different things that are working on completely different parts of your body and different organs. Again, like I have thyroid issues, like I mentioned before, but I'm flexible. So the thyroid positions are so important to my health. And emotionally, the camel pose, it lets you, it opens up your heart. And it's so many different things that you're going to always have something that's out of whack, because we're human and our bodies are changing. So that's just how it is. So it's, even though it is a ritual, even though it is repetitive in that regard, it is a constant readdressing. It's constantly readdressing those organs that are so important in those positions that help you to become better over time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And again, just, that concept of ritual existing outside of the yoga room, something that you do, anything that you ritualize doesn't have to be boring. And it really is an opportunity. It kind of goes back to the yoga concept of kind of having the monkey mind, right? Where the mind is always looking for something to do, some way to be entertained, right? And so part of how that shows up in life is we're always looking for what's new, what's hot, what's different. So the idea that, wait, I'm getting ready to be doing the same thing, some people are taken aback by that, because it is the antithesis of, bouncing all around looking for the next hot thing, right? You really have to ground yourself in this thing, and really it allows you to work deeper within that thing, right? You might hit a point where if it were different every day, you reach a posture that's hard, and then you don't have to do it the next day. Like, you're like, okay, good, I don't have to do that anymore. Right? You're like, ooh, thank God, But from this practice, that like postures that you want to avoid, like you really can't. Like, you have to get in there and do the best you can. And a lot of times our most challenging postures, when we have those little tiny breakthroughs, and then it doesn't even have to be a major breakthrough, just a little tiny breakthrough, like you learn so much about yourself in that moment.
Right. And that's another thing I was going to mention is the mental capacity. The physical is one thing, but it's the way your mind is processing what you're doing as well. So it's all, and it's amazing. I don't think I've had the same exact feeling one day. There's the 26 postures. The way I'm feeling about this posture is going to be different than this one, but that was different yesterday. The way I'm processing, okay, let's do it this way. Maybe if I slow this way, make sure my hips are this way, make sure I'm keeping my arms straight, make sure, what I mean? It's always, there's so many things, even in one posture, that you're controlling, that it's never the same. Not one practice is going to be the same as another time that you're on the mat.
And I mean, isn't it funny and really just very superhuman of us to want to kind of control something and want it to be the same. But what life, again, as expressed through yoga, is constantly trying to show us and tell us is that there is no constant except for change. Mm-hmm. Everything is destined to change. So the idea that it's almost like we keep like kicking ourselves in the foot, right? Because we keep showing up with that expectation that, oh, okay, it's going to be the same. I can control, these variables. So it happens just like this. Right. And life is like, no, like that's not. Like, that's not.
But the acceptance of that concept of change being constant is joyful within itself, because once you let go, and it's such a form of letting go, and not only recognizing that change is constant, but loving that change is constant, and that every moment, like you mentioned earlier this week on presence, every moment is yours to make the best of. And so it's constant creativity, and that gives you the beauty of recognizing that it's constant change. So you always have an opportunity to make something of the here and now constantly, because it's going to change. So I get an opportunity again and again and again to recreate what that looks like.
Yeah. And just to revel in the experience of life. I think that very often we just don't appreciate the beauty of just being alive, right? Mm-hmm. Because we're again back to that monkey mind. Like, we're always looking for, like, what to accomplish, what to conquer, what to do, how to hustle, how to, and very rarely do we just, my favorite word, luxuriate in just your aliveness. Like, going back to presence, being still, just breathing and allowing the breath to just wash over you in that state of just being grateful, back to gratitude, just being grateful for your breath, for your life.
Right. It's so powerful. Even, and this is a thing that when I'm in my practice, that I have realized that I do a lot, that I started to pay attention to, was that I was allowing my body to do what it wanted to do without my mind. Because I was not consciously doing certain things, like you'd mentioned earlier this week, by not shifting so much, not like staying still in between the postures. Like I would be like, I put so much effort in the last one, I was like dang near shaking it off, moving into the next posture. Not only it's distracting to other people that are like super focused and in and solid, but it shows up in how you are off the mat and out in the world. And that's one of the things that I've had to say, I control my body. My body is not going to just get to shifting around just because I'm not making it do a pose at this moment. I am going to be in control. And I think that, which I don't know if you've ever listened to Joe Dispenza, but he talks a little bit about this, how we allow our bodies to kind of run the show sometimes. And because we've done things for so long, or we thought a certain way for so long, instead of us taking control and saying, no, you're going to do this. This is what you're going to do for 20 minutes, which is very similar to yoga, like with meditation. This is what you're going to do for 20 minutes. You're going to sit and you're going to chill and you're going to listen to me, because I'm the mind and I'm going to tell you how to operate. And that it reminds me of how I am on the mat. And it's the same way, like I get to shifting and moving around. It's like, okay, in between my postures, you need to stay still. You need to be able to get ready for the next posture. And it's again, talking more about how it's so many lessons that you learn on the mat. And the rituals give you the opportunity to reassess, how did I do today? Let's change this, let's shift that. And without the rituals, you wouldn't be able to do that in a consistent way.
Absolutely. And just to kind of tack on to something you said, though, that really the ultimate goal, because, a lot of us look at our bodies and minds as separate entities, separate parts of us, when really in the yoga room, what you're really trying to do is establish and really reestablish, because it is our birthright, of our body and our mind in union, right? So there shouldn't be, or not that there shouldn't be, because it's just an aspect of being human, right? For that kind of battle in between what the body wants to do, what the mind wants to do. It's really, our goal is really to try to link them together in harmony so that they really work together. And sometimes, it's the body, but sometimes it's the mind that wants to fidget or whatever. A perfect example of that is, when you're lying in Savasana, right? A lot of times, almost every class, people get up and jump and run up out of class, and understandably, like, we have busy lives, we have stuff to do. So one of the things I love to say at the end of class is really, your body has just given you 90 minutes. Like, it's given you the best that it's got for 90 minutes. So let your body in the final Savasana, when it's time to rest, let your body be in control of when it's time to go. Like, really consciously try to turn off your mind so that your mind doesn't start jumping ahead, what I gotta do, where I gotta be, what time is it, right? And really let the body just completely relax and let your body guide when it's time to leave that room. It'll tell you, right? It'll tell you when it's had enough rest, when it's absorbed all the healing benefits from what you've just done. So again, that's just back to that harmony. And we have to be purposeful about asserting that, right? When the mind is busy or when the body's busy, like, okay, we gotta come together. Like, we're working together. This is union within our own bodies. Yes, our own selves, not separate body and the mind, but our whole self.
Right. I love that. It's such, because I do the 5:30 to 7, and I am thinking, oh man, I got this to do. Okay, let me just get up and go. And you're so right about how we need to get all the benefits that yoga provides. You've got to give yourself that time to just bask in the congratulatory feeling of thank you, body, for everything that you just did for me. I'll give you a second, you know?
Yeah.
And when we allow ourselves to think that way, then our mind, we already told ourselves, our mind, listen, we're not gonna move until our body's ready to go. You can think about something else creative or whatever else instead of the rush. You don't have to stress yourself out because we're not going anywhere right now. So
Yeah.
get you out of something else. And it gives yourself that time, that ability to harmonize the two, like you mentioned before.
Yeah, and really you're working on that all the time in class, breath by breath, building that union within yourself.
Yeah. I'm hearing so many just little nuggets that I can't wait to take back on the yoga mat. Can't wait till we get back in the studio too.
Yes, yeah, we all miss the studio. But you know, again, going back to that ritual, you know, and taking that outside of the room, it's really about establishing rituals for yourself in certain areas. So this week we've talked about compassion, we've talked about being present, we've talked about joy, and really, you know, you should have specific rituals for those. How to, you know, ritualize the expression of compassion to yourself. Like, how do you do that? How do you practice presence every day and make that a ritual, whether you go to yoga or not? You know, you can take moments and really just breathe. And, you know, that's something I recommend every day. If you're familiar with the series, pranayama, deep breathing, the first breathing exercise that we do in the morning, that is an amazing way to start your day. Like, you can literally wake up, roll out of bed, do your breathing, especially if you know that you're not going to make it to the studio that day. You know, start your day with that powerful breath. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that at the end of the day, because you're trying to wind down, your body's trying to, rest. But that is like, just like it prepares you for class. It gets you opens up your lungs, gets you some really fresh oxygen in there. And that's kind of fuel to start your day. So, for people that do know the series and can do that every morning, I highly recommend that. You don't necessarily have to do 20 like we do in class, but a good 5 or 10 is, powerful.
Can you explain a little bit about that breathing exercise and what it does for your body?
Yeah, so that particular breathing exercise, it's really a powerful tool. It prepares you for class. It really prepares you to work in the hot room. So if you do it, outside of class, you'll notice that, your body gets like kind of heated up and fired up. And it's really just bringing a ton of fresh oxygen into the body. So there are other, there pranayama exercises have, there's all kind of deep breathing exercises that you can do. And some of them they all have different purposes, right? So even like the final breathing exercise that we do, it expels toxins, pushes out all the toxins that you've stirred up in the class. So that's another one. It has a totally different purpose, but there's also pranayama exercises to calm you, to kind of bring you into a deeper state of relaxation. So yeah, and that one, I wouldn't do that now just because it has so many kind of moving parts. Pranayama deep breathing has so many moving parts, and it has alignment, specifications in terms of, your spine and your neck and, how you want to do that or how the best way to practice that.
Gotcha.
So as we've been doing little breathing exercises here, and that's probably a good segue. Probably the universe telling us to move into breathing, but those are more for relaxation tools. Everything I kind of walked us through so far this week has been a variation of what I share at the end of class after you've worked your body for 90 minutes, and you really need to guide yourself and your body into a state of relaxation. And it's also, a very fertile time in the mind, I find, when you close your eyes and really kind of close things out and, planting, seeds of, powerful, inspiring, thoughtful quotes. I think it's just a good way to kind of even further get the benefits from that time of relaxation.
Awesome. So is that, when you mentioned the segue, does that mean it's time for our breathing exercise?
Yeah, so we're going to do a breathing exercise. Okay. All right. If you're watching and you can lie down, please do. If not, you can do it from your chair. Just as you're sitting in your chair, though, as we kind of move through the different body parts, really try to bring as much focus as you can into relaxing those parts. It'll be hard because you're obviously using some muscles to hold yourself upright, but, do the best you can with that. So first, take a deep breath and just relax your shoulders down, because we hold so much tension and just naturally in our neck and shoulders. So just consciously, just let them fall down a little bit and let them go. And just sit with that sensation a little bit. And then go ahead and close your eyes. And take a very, very, very deep inhale. And exhale. Good. So that was the first kind of clearing breath. So now take another big inhale. As you breathe in, consciously think about calming your body, calming your mind. And as you exhale, go ahead and smile. Inhale. Deep, deep inhale. Calm your body, calm your mind. As you breathe out, smile. At yourself. That's your compassion for the day. Take a deep inhale. And in this inhale, dwell in the present moment. As you exhale, know that this is the only moment. It's the only moment you have right here, right now. So just enjoy it, relax into it. Take a deep breath. Picture your lungs filling up all the way from the top to the very, 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 very bottom. And then exhale very slowly, as slow as you can. Let go of all of the breath until no more is left. Good. Okay, and open your eyes. You there? Eyes open?
Yeah. I was exhaling.
Yeah, so again, that's a good one you can use. I like to, again, we talked earlier this week about just using your own visual, not your visual, but your own learning style to really help you do things. So for me, I'm visual. So as I'm breathing, I like to picture, I like to imagine. If you're tactile, you might want to touch, right? If you're auditory, some of the verbal cues are going to mean even more to you. So if you're auditory, for instance, and you're breathing by yourself, you might even make a little recording or find a little recording of someone kind of talking you through the breath to take you deeper. Once after class, a student asked me to record myself doing the final relaxation. And I was like, like no one's ever asked me that. But later on, when I thought about it, I was like, oh, she's an auditory learner. That's going to help her, do that outside of this room, which I always encourage.
So that's so interesting because like with the meditation apps and things like that allow you to have a guided meditation. I started my meditation that way, but over time realized that I did better with meditating with like sounds of nature. And kind of like guiding myself and thinking about what it is that I wanted to focus on or have my intent on, what my mantra kind of was for that particular meditation, and then focusing my mind on that. But it was better with sounds, not necessarily with guided. It would take me off my path of where I was thinking. So it's so interesting. It's different for different people.
I love that you mentioned that, because a lot of people have said to me over the years, I've said to myself, when I first started, meditating is hard. Like, I don't know if this is for me. Just like people have said that about yoga, like I don't think this is for me. But I think the key is like to keep like going or trying different things until you find what works for you, because there's no one way to meditate, just like there's no one way to do yoga. Hot yoga just simply does not work for some people, and that's fine. I'm never one that's like, oh, this is the only yoga you should do. I know that it's a healing, powerful modality for sure, but I also don't believe that, if it doesn't resonate with you, that means you shouldn't do yoga. I think you should just find a different style of yoga to practice. But and same with meditation. Some people like music, some people like silence, some people they need to visualize, some people don't. It's all really interesting. It's a funny story. So when I first started practicing, I think I had just come out of teacher training. And so when I would go visit my mom at home, she lives in Indianapolis, Indiana. And at the time, they did not have the style of yoga that I practiced in that city at all. So I was like, man, you know, I was at the phase in my life where if I did not do yoga every day, like it was a problem. So
It's like
so
that.
I found the studio that was like right up the street from her, and they taught a totally different style of yoga. And the interesting thing was they had music in the room. And so at first, you know, I'm going in there and I'm like, oh, I don't want to practice with music. And so I was already irritated, right?
Right.
But I'm no, I'm getting here and I'm
Flexibility.
like, right. But then, no joke, they played a song like what was the song? It was like a Corinne Bailey Ray song, and it was like a song that I had broken up to someone with. So, you know, I'm here doing my yoga, like trying to get centered, and this song comes on, and I'm like it just took me totally out of the room. Like I'm back into, you know, 10 years ago. And then, so I kind of got through that. I pushed through that. And then the next thing I heard was Let Me Clear My Throat, which is like a party song. Let me clear my throat. And I was just like, what? Like, now I'm at a party. But like I say that to say, like, that did not work for me at all. But there were people in there having like their best class. So, you know, as I, you know, at the time, you know, I was a little young in my yoga journey, and I was just irritated. I was like, who does that? Who plays music in class? Like, that is so dumb. Like, that's ridiculous. That's not really yoga. Like, that was my total like judgmental attitude. But, you know, as I grew in my practice, I'm like, you know what? That actually works for some people. And that actually helps them access things in their body that they might not be able to in a room with silence. Mm-hmm. So, you know, all that to say, there's something for everybody. And I think it's not our place to judge ourselves or other people for what really works for them.
Yeah. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because, you know, when I tried other forms of yoga, I've never been able to attach myself to other forms. And I started with Bikram because I did like the heat aspect, because I felt like it was all for me. When I first started, it was like, okay, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do this one, because at least I get stuff out of my pores. You know, I'm thinking sauna, like, you know, since like we do it as a standard person that works out. They're like, okay, you know, if you've been drinking, you know, get that out of your pores, because, you know, that's what you think about when you go to 24, go to sauna, you know. So, and over time, and I do like the challenge that hot yoga, original hot yoga, provides for me, because it is a challenge. And so when I would do other forms, I was like, this isn't challenging enough. I want to feel a struggle. I want to feel that I've got to really concentrate so that it does take my mind away from other things. Mm-hmm. And then but it's, again, I know people that are far advanced in certain ways when it comes to some of the things that you mentioned this week: compassion, presence, but they don't do hot yoga. They don't do original hot yoga. They still do yoga, but it's a different vinyasa or flow or whatever. They do these other forms, and they are still checking all those boxes when it comes to developing those parts of themselves that yoga provides. It just is a different form of yoga that they utilize to connect. Yeah.
And I'm just going to say this before I know we're getting short on time, before I move this into a final breathing exercise. That's a lesson, a message that I really want to impart in terms of, you know, all yoga is good yoga. And we spent some time in the yoga world kind of judging different styles and different teachers, and, you know, and it's just like, that is like not the point of this at all. And there's something for everybody. And, you know, it's just, you know, the reason why the universe made everything so diverse, because it's supposed to be. Everything is not supposed to be the same, right? And there's no one way, there's no one path. So I do want to say that, you know.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that, because it's important. It's very, very important that people recognize that. And it's a concept to not just have on the mat or in the yoga room. It's a concept that everybody can get to where they're trying to go the way that they want to do it. And it's not up to you to have an opinion about it.
Okay, you want to do a little more breathing?
Yes, ma'am. I'm ready.
want to share one of my new favorite quotes. It's so powerful. And it's for everybody, especially, you know, right here, right now, as things are challenging and, you know, we may feel limited or stressed. And for sure, you know, we're going through a rough time, but, you know, just to keep that connection within, I think is important and will help us get through whatever it is we have to get through, both personally and, you know, as a nation, as the world even. So one more breathing. Go ahead and close your eyes. Relax your shoulders down. They should already be a little more relaxed. Good. And go ahead and take your first deep inhale. Very deep, very slow. See if you can expand your lungs even a little bit more than you did the first time. And then exhale. As slow as you can, let it out until there's absolutely nothing left. Good. One more of these. Take a deep, deep inhale. Full lungs all the way at the top. Hold it for a second. And then exhale, let it go. Nice and slow, nice and easy, with grace, with love. All right. Now from there, just keep your breathing nice and steady, nice and slow, very fluid. Relax your toes. Relax your feet. Relax your heels. Relax your ankles, relax. Relax your legs. Relax your calves. Relax your knees, the backs of your knees. Allow them to be soft and let go. Relax your thighs. Relax your hips. Relax your stomach. Relax your chest. Relax your shoulders. Relax your arms. Relax your wrists, your hands, your fingers, and even your fingertips. Let it go. Good. Relax your neck. Relax your jaw. Relax your face. Relax your eyes. Most especially, most importantly, relax your mind. Relax your mind. Relax your mind. And open your heart. You are an expression of the divine, just like a peach is, just like a fish is. You have a right to be this way, just as you are. Don't apologize for that, nor can you change it, nor should you want to. We will never have to be other than who we are in order to be successful. For we realize that we are, as ourselves, unlimited, and our experience is valid. It is for the rest of the world to recognize this, if they choose. We realize that we are, as ourselves, unlimited. That's the key. We are, as ourselves, and only ourselves, unlimited. Okay, eyes open.
That was beautiful.
That was brilliant and amazing, Alice Walker. So
That's gorgeous.
that is my new catchphrase. We are, as ourselves, unlimited. Like every day I try to say that more and get it in my spirit, as the old people would say, really get that in my spirit.
Yeah, get it in my spirit. It's funny that you're saying that, because I literally have been saying for probably like the past 2 weeks that we are made in his image. We have the power of him within us. And it's so related to what you're saying. We are, as ourselves, unlimited.
Mm-hmm.
I think people forget that, you know, when we second guess our abilities, second guess who we are, second guess what we're capable of.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So in closing, I want to ask once more, we've asked this before, for people that are interested in this yoga practice. And again, there's so many different types of ways. but what would you suggest for them to do, that people that are looking like, okay, you know what, maybe I'll try this. Maybe this is something I need to give a little bit more put a little more interest into.
Yeah, I would recommend going to Hot Yoga Plus, and I'll actually, when we finish this call, I'll tag the studio in the comments of this chat. But that studio teaches the practice that I'm grounded in, the original Hot Yoga 26 and 2. But it also offers some other, it has some other offerings, hot Pilates, there's a booty yoga class. So there's several classes, but mostly I do recommend the original Hot Yoga because of its healing properties. And it really is for beginners. There's something in it for everybody. So
I love that. Thank you so much, Connease. It has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for this week. I reviewing compassion and presence and joy and today rituals. Thank you so much for that. And I will definitely see you in the studio someday soon when this is all over. And again, I can't thank you enough for what you shared.
yes, I will. It'll be lovely to practice together or to have you in class again. It's been a long time.
It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Well, until next time, Ms. Connease, you have an amazing day. For those that are watching, again, Connease will add information in the thread. If you have any questions for me about what I know about yoga, I'm welcome any questions at all. And if I know the answers, I'll tell you. And if I don't, I'll find it. All right. Okay, you guys have a beautiful, beautiful weekend. If I don't see you guys again, and bye-bye for now.
Bye. Namaste.
Namaste.